Hey everybody, it's GoblinX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing a Modern Horizons 3 sealed qualifier play-in event. These qualifier play-in events are your first step on the large ladder that can bring you all the way to the Pro Tour. If you can win a qualifier play-in event, then you can get into the next qualifier weekend, and if you can win day 1 of that, then you can get into day 2 of that, and if you can win day 2 of that, you can get into the next Pro Tour. So pretty cool event for people who are trying to get into those really high stakes, really competitive events, but these are also great events for players like me that end up with a bunch of extra play-in points because these are the only place you can spend those play-in points. So you're going to get those by winning best of 3 drafts. So winning any traditional draft events will get you a couple play-in points, and if you're top 1500 Mythic in the previous season, then you'll also get 20 play-in points. So this is where you can take those play-in points and convert those into cold hard gems you can use in any other event. So that's what I always do. Whenever there's a sealed qualifier play-in, I take my random leftover play-in points and turn them into some gems. So really, don't care too much whatever our record is, especially because this month's qualifier weekend event is going to be historic. It's going to be a constructed format I know absolutely nothing about, so really not worried at all about actually qualifying here, but I will still play my best and try to get as many gems as possible out of my 20 play-in points. So without further ado, let's hop into the event, see what we can build with today. Alright, we have some terrible rares here. We've got a lot of them, but only one of them is good. Emperor of Bones is a very scary rare, being able to exile cards from graveyards, and then when you adapt it and put some counters on it, you get to slam that creature on the board and smack your opponent in the face with it. Pretty great rare. But then after that, there's one Amphibian Downpour, which is about on par with most uncommon removal spells in the format, which is fine, but not really rare-worthy. And then basically every other rare is borderline unplayable. I would never play Flare of Duplication, Orm's Chant, Jet Medallion, Emerald Medallion, or Deserted Temple in literally any draft or sealed deck. So that's a ton of unplayable cards there. And then White Orchid Phantom is just okay if you're super deep on white. So it is both narrow and not even that good when you're in the exact deck that it would fit in. Roshin, another card, incredibly narrow. We're not gonna, on average, have enough X mana value cards to play Roshin in our deck. Shifting Woodland actually is a decent land, though. That'll easily replace a forest if we are gonna play green as one of our main colors. But it is, again, just a solid utility land. Not really a bomb or anything, so pretty weak rares, but that is okay because this is a pretty busted format with some very powerful commons and uncommons as well. So hopefully we got something decent outside of those higher rarities. So let's take a look at our colorless and multicolored. That's what I always like to start with to see how our mana fixing looks, and our mana fixing is insane. Honestly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different landscapes. That's about as close as you can get to a 5-color mana base there, because there are 10 different landscapes. We have 7 different ones. One of which we have 2 copies of, the Tranquil Landscape here. That's insane. So we have mana fixing for literally anything that we want to do, whatever colors look the best here. Now, still playing all 5 colors without like big reasons to do so, like without powerful bombs or anything to splash into other colors, would still just not be worth it. We're just making our mana base less consistent for cards that are just the same power level anyway. But that mana fixing is still nice so that we can play any combination of colors that does look the strongest for us. We've got 2 Warped Tuskers as our only colorless spells because the medallions are just unplayable. And those are really kind of green cards because you do need that flexibility so that they do something before turn 7 if you are mana screwed a little bit there. So Tusker's fine, but it's basically a green card, so basically no colorless, but there's tons of fixing here. There's even a green-blue duel, a green-white duel, a green-red duel, a green-black duel. So we have no bombs, no power level in our rares, but all the fixing in the world to play all of our strongest cards if we did, which is awkward. Yeah, double Nightshade Giant as well. Just a green-based 5-color deck. The sealed pool is kind of perfect for it because this is green, black, green red, green white, and green blue. It's like literally every green dual land. I mean, like, we can still do that. I just don't know what we're splashing at that point. Maybe there's some really good commons, uncommons, but generally aren't the kind of cards worth splashing, you know, like Fell the Propane here, the double black cost, the Wormcoil Lava double black cost. These are powerful cards, but they're both 2 mana of their respective color. I guess Emperor of Bones is a single black. Black does look like potentially one of our strongest colors. It's got Emperor of Bones, it's got great removal with Breathe Your Last, double propane accessories, and Wormcoil Larva. We've also got pretty solid red here, Galvanic Discharge, Fanged Flames for cheap removal, the Spawn Gang Commander for an uncommon level bomb. Green is really nice because of that fixing, as well as the ramp into like Aberration and Nyxborn Hydra, and it gives us all of these fixing lands as well. I guess there's not a high quantity of cards in the colors there. Just go through each color. Let's make sure we take a peek at everything. Really low creature count in white. There's plenty of unplayable spells here as well. Jolted Awake, Worm's Chant here. Without great synergies are pretty mediocre. I guess Static Prison's great removal. There are 5 creatures here. I mean, it's okay. There's just no real reason to play it. Blue. Shapeshifter's not great. Everything else is solid though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A little deeper than blue. Or sorry, a little deeper than white. A little more playables here. Really like the card draw we have access to between Visionary and Deep Analysis as well. Hope Ender can be a blowout at the right time. Decent color. Black looks like one of the deepest in terms of the quantity of cards. Quality's not super high, but it's fine. I mean, these cards are all fine. There's some really good ones, though, right? Fell the Propane, Breathe Your Last, Emperor of Bones, Marauders are pretty decent. They combo well with Wormcoil Larva. Yeah, no, black is the best color we've seen so far by a good portion. Blue's probably second favorite right now. Red, pretty solid aggressive color. The double charge bug and the Void Pouncer being aggressive 2-drops that get us rolling, and, you know, 2 pieces of removal. Make the color a little more consistent. And then the Spawn Gang at the top of the curve. Ember Mage also okay. Like, decent for a pretty aggressive deck, but not incredible. Probably tied with the blue. I think it's still worse than the black. Then green doesn't have a ton of cards here, but what it does have is a solid core to a really splashy deck if we go for that, because our sealed pool has so many non-basic lands to be splashing all over the place, and the Nightshade Dryads give us more mana fixing of any color, and by playing green, we also get every one of our straight-up dual lands. Literally every color. Green, black, red, white, and blue. We have every single one of them. But again, I don't know why we're doing that, other than we can, you know? I don't know. I am just here for the gems, so we could get a little fancy here just because it's funny. I genuinely don't think anything in the sealed pool, because our bomb power level is quite low. Our top end card power level is quite low. I don't think like the sealed pool is ever going to get a 6-win run before 2 losses in a competitive event like this. And that wasn't the goal anyway, so we could just make the funnest deck we can out of this pool. Which might be 5-color multicolored soup with no real purpose. I don't know. It's really hard to convince me to do that, though. Because just don't know like why we're splashing any white, you know, like just for a Static Prison or something. Okay, well, if I'm doing that, why wouldn't I just be green black? Because then I have Breathe Your Last, double Accursed Marauder, double Fell the Propane. Like, I don't need to be splashing into removal. I could be splashing into blue for solid card draw, I guess. Visionary Deep Analysis. Again, red splashing would be for removal as well. Outside of that, it's just okay creatures on curve, Spawn Gang being the best one for like a big impactful late game play, and that requires double red, which is rough. Off a splash. Like, we have all of the tools in the mana base possible to splash around and play as multicolored of a deck as we could possibly want. We just don't have a reason to do that in terms of powerful cards to splash in. So we have powerful lands and weak spells in the sealed pool. That's what we've got. I'm kind of feeling like green and black are our best colors, so we just play some green-black deck at the core, and if we don't reach playables, then we can splash literally any color we want. I think red is probably the strongest splash color, but blue's pretty close with the great card draw. But red gives us Discharge and Fanged Flames as the first spells that we splash in, which are really easily splashable. I feel like the quest for Necropolis is probably pretty good and sealed, where it is a little slow for draft. Play Stump Stomp even if we're not playing red. Could play Strength of the Harvest even if we're not playing white, but the aura half of this is like real weak. Playing a million tap lands in this deck at that point. I guess this is flexible enough for sealed. We can play Collective Resistance as well. Super pumped about it. So if we play green-black, we get excellent removal and we get our bomb of Emperor of Bones. If we play green-blue, we get card draw and one big top-end card. Like a little more ramp towards the Tuskers. Is cute. Green, blue, green, black looking like the best core colors for the deck. Put the Hydra up at the top end of the curve. Put it around the Wormcoil Larva there. We are playing a Wumpus Aberration here, so we want every green-black landscape that we have for sure. I guess that's it for green-black ones. Okay. We have a ton of 2-drops here. I think Dross Claw is one of the weakest. It's kind of just like a black-red artifact synergy card. I guess it works fine with Eviscerator's Insight. Not really with a Cursed Marauder, though. Cursed Marauder forces non-token sacks. Dream Drinker Vampire is probably our second worst 2-drop. Maybe even Cursed Wombat. We don't actually have like crazy synergies for it. Yeah, we've got some adapters that get a little bigger, but nothing crazy. I guess if we keep it in, we leave the vampire in too. Kind of like an aggro deck here. With this really quick curve. We don't have any synergies for the Kami, and Trawler is one of the weaker of the flip land things. So I'm considering those as cuts. I mean, we have enough playables here to where I am cutting cards that I think are pretty reasonable right now. To where we really don't need to splash at all, because all these cards are super playable. But we might want to anyway. That can get some more landscapes in here towards the Aberration, or I could just cut the Aberration, I guess. I've got 3 4-drops without it. I guess I do have a lot of spell lands right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we play those as lands 50% of the time, we're at a 19 land deck right now. Cut, boom. This would be 17 lands. Treating these as 50% spells, 50% lands. Which means we do have to put something back into the deck at that point. So removal, we're on 4 removal spells here. Stomp, Propane, Breathe Your Last. Horrific Assault, we're on 5 removal spells. I was going to say one of the easiest splashes would be off the Stump Stomp moving towards red for those really splashable removal spells there. But 5 on-color removal spells, I don't know if that's what I really need. Off a splash. Let's look through everything here. I could put Roshin in here because we have 1 X-Mana spell in the deck. Mill 6 and hope Nyxborn Hydra's in the top 6. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing at all. Yeah, double red is a little bit of a hard sell. But I guess we have Dryads, a red-green duel. How many landscapes would we have? 1, 2... We'd only have 2 towards red. Wait, one of these might already be. Okay, 3. We'd have 3 landscapes that have red in them, so 1, 2, 3, 4 because we have to play a basic mountain. So 4 in the mana base up front, 5 from Stump Stomp, 6, 7 from Dryad. 7 red towards 1 double red card? Maybe. There's got to be something close to as strong as Spawn Gang that we can splash in easier, though. Like, maybe Deep Analysis Draw 4 is close to that good? Probably not. Certainly not any of the other blue cards. White just doesn't have anything. It's like 1 Static Prison. No, our strongest card that we're not playing in our deck is the Spawn Gang Commander. And that's because of the double red, one of the harder splashes. I mean, we're not playing Discharge or Fang Flames either. Those are really efficient removal spells. Static Prison's really efficient removal. Demon Fear is really efficient removal. But, like, the strongest, like, spell that isn't just interaction. I don't know. I think if we end up dipping our toe into red anyway, we grab Spawn Gang and the cheap removal. We play all the red landscapes. So red, black, red, black. Cool. There's no red-green up here anywhere. No. And then we cut a couple more of our most filler cards here to make room for Discharge and Flames as well. Although, I think we just added lands without cutting any. Yeah, 17 plus all 4 of the flip lands. So we need to recut 2 lands here. So yeah, we just need to cut 2 cards. Don't have a ton of expendable stuff towards Eviscerator's Insight, but it's also our only card draw. And then Quest for the Necropolis. Again, it might not be too slow for Sealed, like it is for Draft, but still, don't love it. Those are like the first things that come to mind, but I could see like Collective Resistance over Eviscerator's Insight if we really, really want to make sure we still have a little bit of card draw in here. Got Larva and Commando. For Eviscerator's Insight. I have 2 cards that spit out expendable things. I guess Tusker makes an Eldrazi spawn that's super late in the game. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just ditch these. We'll get our mountains into here. Mana base is going to take a little bit of work. A little bit of math. So black and green are pretty much tied for importance, and then red is in 3rd place. We're sitting on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 ways to get black versus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 13 to 9. So this is 11 to 11, and then we can go 10, 10 and add 2 mountains. And that's an even split on the main colors with a little bit more red sources to make hitting the double red slightly more consistent than initially planned. Looks good to me. We do need to make sure to leave a landscape on board for Aberration and Spawn Gang Commander draws. When we already have all the colors that we need. Better just hold on to it than thin one land out. I guess we've got double Nightshade Dryad as well towards colorless. That feels pretty consistent. But yeah, I don't know. Looks fine. Looks like a pretty mediocre, pretty average sealed pool, but... Or, sorry, it looks like a pretty mediocre, pretty average sealed deck. But it looks like a pretty mediocre, pretty, honestly, below average sealed pool in general, so... I'll take it. Looks good enough for me. I'm sure there are plenty of other decks we could make in the sealed pool that are reasonably equivalent, maybe even a tiny bit better, but I really don't think there's anything in here that's like dramatically better than this. Anything that's going to get a particularly higher record or anything. So we'll just go with a nice, reasonable, average deck for our pretty average sealed pool and hop into the gameplay, see how far it takes us. Alright, here we are for game 1. This is a 2-lander. It does have all the colors we need for Cursed Wombat, but both of our lands come to play tapped. So I can technically play Cursed Wombat and Dream Drinker Vampire, but I won't start playing either of them till turn 3 unless I top deck a land. I am on the draw. If I top deck a basic, this hand kind of slaps. It's actually pretty good. If I don't, I still have the backup plan of starting things off on turn 3, which is kind of slow, but not horrific. I mean, having 2 red spells in the hand where if I don't draw any lands, I'll have to crack the landscape towards red is pretty bad. Because I'm going to have to crack it towards casting Wombat in the first place. But if I draw literally any land in the deck, that land will be a green, black, or red source, which means that alongside Repast can cast Wombat, or it gets me towards the red spells. Yeah. Unless I just completely miss on lands, I don't think these red spells actually stay stranded, because then we can actually use this landscape on red. And there we go. Perfect draw. We hit a swamp, and now the hand is completely live. We get Wombat and Vampire out early. We've got Breathe Your Last up because we've got double black. We've got Fanged Flames later. We are super in it here. Okay, Fanatic of Ronus is already better than everything in my deck. I'm sketched out. I think I need to just landscape towards red and get rid of that as soon as possible. So if I end up killing that with anything that doesn't exile it, then it's going to come back as a 4/4, which even if the mana is irrelevant at that point, getting 2 for 1 is pretty bad, especially when the second half of the 2 for 1 is a 4/4 body. Alright, mirror match color-wise, but they are on the play, so they are on the beat down here, especially with Fanatic threatening to come back as a 4/4. So we are definitely exiling this Fanatic. Which means we gotta take a hit from Expanding Ooze, but if we kill Expanding Ooze with Breathe Your Last, we gain a bunch of life when we kill it. Quite nice. So if I did not exile the Fanatic there, then they would have had a really good line next turn where they adapt the Ooze to make it a 4/4, and now this Fanatic is 4 mana. So they would be casting a 6 mana spell this turn and adapting Ooze as a 5/5 attacker. So we really, really needed to kill that. Alright, now we can Breathe Your Last, the Ooze, gain 2, and we're facing a single 1/2 on the other side of the board. Looks good to me. The one thing I don't like here is they do have ramp, and I won't be able to kill something bigger, but Ooze is already attacking as a 6/6 next turn, so can't just take it. I guess I could cast a Nightshade Dryad and hope to trade that off. But I would like to have that around for mana for a little bit, so hopefully we can just trade that off into their bigger, scarier creature later. Okay, so Emperor of Bones is going to get a creature back for 1 swing. Is that relevant with anything in the grave right now? No, it's just an Expanding Ooze. I mean, I guess if I bring back an Expanding Ooze, I attack with it, put another counter on Emperor of Bones. That's pretty cute. But we want to play our other creatures first and see if we can draw removal out of our opponent. So let's get Dryad so we can Spawn Gang in the future. And then I think I'm going to Dream Drinker. gain back some of this life, and this is also going to let me like play Wombat plus Adapt Vampire in the same turn next turn, and immediately get the double +1/+1 value off of it. And if we can keep Wombat around for when Emperor's around, that's another way to just wombo combo off with that thing. The Emperor does only exile like one creature from a graveyard per turn, so it's not gonna like hyper speed out, even if I put a million counters on it in one turn, but if I have it sitting there long enough, I can do a big turn with it. Off these synergies. I don't know what I do here. I could Spawn Gang and start clearing this stuff out of the way. That feels decently valuable. I think I'm going to go for that. Yeah, we can clear one out right now, and if they don't kill the Spawn Gang commander, then I can clear more of them out later. Yeah, we're pretty set to play a grindy game well. The longer the game goes on, the more options there are in the graveyard, and the better Emperor of Bones gets. So we'll play it nice and slow here. All right, real solid value. Feel like I'm supposed to kill Nightshade Dryad, because odds are they're splashing a color, because this is sealed. But maybe they have really good Evangel combos in there, because they do have a +1/+1 counter theme. And what I mean odds are, they obviously are. They already cast a white spell. Okay, they have 2 cards in hand. I'm feeling pretty set up. Start jamming. Excuse me. Now it's time for Wombo Combo, also known as Wombat Combo. Sure. Well, that makes Emperor Bones a little worse. I'm not playing Emperor of Bones here because I want to just adapt Wombat. Have that mana up. There's their own Dream Drinker, still just 1 card in their hand here. Alright, nice line. Adapt in response to the Proliferate trigger to get the Proliferate counter as well. Probably just Horrific Assault that and keep rolling. Guess I don't need to Horrific Assault it. To get the team sending in, because I'm already attacking with a 5/6. Yeah. Expanding Ooze is the best card right now, because that gives more counters to Emperor later. I can only adapt the Emperor the 1 time, and when I do adapt it, I'm going to get 2 triggers, so I want to wait till a second creature is exiled off of it. Try to get that Wombat combo going. When does the card get sacked? The beginning of the next end step. Okay, so if they kill it right now, I don't get anything out of it. The Ooze will just die in their end step. I guess I could still get the Ooze just to hold it up as a blocker, keep the vampire off us. Alright, Gravedigg back there. 6/8 for later. Have a 2/2 zombie blocker for now. You know, with the spawn tokens for colorless, I'm going to crack this landscape. And dryads for colorless, actually. Well, there we go. There's the colorless card, Wumpus Aberration. Okay. Their better creature. Dream Drinker Vampire. Or Endurance. So I'm going to go for Endurance here. We know they have a 6/8 coming up, so I can save Horrific Assault for that. Okay, so we need to go to full control mode when you have an Emperor of Bones on board and you want to exile something and attack with it the same turn. Let that resolve and then do this before it moves to combat. Boom. Put my graveyard back at this point. Emperor Bones has done its thing. I forgot I was going to get 3... Actually, 4 triggers here? Good lord. Alright, well, I guess I'll just put more counters there and force a big block. Oh, no, the Wombat thing only triggers once, so yeah, 3. We don't get an additional +1 from adapting it and an additional +1 from Ooze. Okay, cool. This all looks good to me. They're down to 4, but they gain 4 from the lifelinker. They play a 6/8. I Horrific Assault that. And still go kind of wild. Oh, I guess I should have hit for another 2 damage. Had the extra mana to expand the Ooze there. That was a lot. Modern Horizons is a complex format. But they're pretty dead now. Oh wow, yeah, we get our own 6/8 to follow up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can cast it and still attack with literally everybody. I don't have my colorless sources anymore, but I've also cast my only colorless spells. The Spawn Gang and the Aberration. Actually, hold on to this in case of a board wipe. The only board wipe they could have, though, would kill them. It'd be the Pay Life board wipe. But they are splashing white. Maybe they'd somehow hit double white for that one, but looks like that is not the case, and we are going to get there and start things off 1-0. Be leaving with at least a little more extra gems now. 1,000 gems as the minimum reward. 3 black spells, no black source. Does not look keepable. I mean, I guess we're on the draw. We can Fang Flames their first play, but what are we on? 10 black sources? Yeah. Feels too risky. Okay, this is better. I like collective resistance with the Emperor, so we can have it sit around longer towards one of those big combos. Would be the most obvious ditch otherwise, though. I think I'll get rid of Hydra. That feels slow enough. Cursed Wombo combo is back. And we can try to set up the Wombat Emperor thing. Play the Emperor on turn 4 alongside collective resistance being held up. Trickster's Elk. Just turn Priest into a 3/3. Okay. No mana necessary. It's beatdown time, our opponent says. Oh yeah. Horrific Assault 2. I like the play. Our opponent is violent. Alright. Not at all what would be expected generally, but that's pretty cool. I'm down with that jam. I think we're just keeping this landscape towards our colorless spells as potential draws, so jamming out Nightshade Dryad. If I trade Dryad into Priest, they'll still have a 3/3 on board because the way Trickster's Elk works, so I don't really want to do that. Collective Resistance is starting to look pretty insane, though. We can blow up the Bestowed Enchantment at instant speed, block the Priest, and kill both of the cards. Temperamental Oozewag. Okay, so now we probably need to Death Touch that. I could Collective Resistance for double green and 1. I can blow up the Trickster Elk and Hexproof Indestructible the Dryad. Trade that into Oozewag without losing a creature. Which feels solid. Do I need to play that defensively, or can I play an Emperor of Bones here to start setting that up first? I mean, I guess I lost the Wombat, so Emperor's only going to bring one thing back anyway, so I can just bring it back the turn that I play the Emperor. Do the full control thing. Kinda hate just holding up Collective Resistance here. I guess because Dryad taps for a green here, I can still have double green and 1 playing Emperor at least. Expand the board a little bit. They use removal, we hexproof the Emperor of Bones and kill Trickster Elk at the same time. Okay, that doesn't do anything, actually. We don't have anything big enough for that. They just get a 2/1 next turn? One of their creatures gets double strike for 1 turn. Yeah, they can get the 2/1. I'd rather do the Trickster Elk thing here. Okay, so this is going to be a gross turn. So we get to Death Touch here. We get to block here. And then we get to Collective Defiance, destroy an enchantment, hexproof indestructible, destroy Trickster's Elk, hexproof indestructible, the Death Toucher, auto pay, and just blow them out here. Like, there goes their board. Jesus. Oh, and the Repast for another counter on Emperor of Bones, which is actually 2 more counters if we do it the same turn that we get the Wombat on board. Yeah, I would like to try to get pretty greedy with that, I think. Holding up Repast just in case. But ideally we're setting up like an insane turn where I napped the Emperor to put a Wombat out, then I Repast it to get 2 more things out. Evolution Witness. So they could... Okay, I was going to say they could wait to adapt until I try to exile one of their cards, and then they adapt and put that back in their hand so I don't have it as a target for Emperor anymore. But they just want to play it nice and quick there. Okay, do we want to just do the Emperor of Bones insanity here? I kind of want to just do the Emperor of Bones insanity. Well, no, I would be getting a 1/1 back as the bonus card. So I get an Elk and a Wombat, and by getting the additional +1/+1 counter, I'm getting also a 1/1. Yeah, no, I guess I don't really think that's particularly great. So we just like adapt Oozewag. I don't know, I still kind of want to beat down. I guess I just hold off on her past for this turn. We can still beat down plenty. And I can just Repast for 1 card. I think that's fine. Well, if I Elk right now, then I still have the option to, when I Repast, get 2 cards back. No, that's not true, because I would Repast, I'd trigger it, I'd get the Wombat on the board, but then I'd already have used the counter. Yeah, so I just get 1 card now and 1 card next time. Okay, they're over it anyway. I'm overthinking things. They have 1 card in hand, they're super dead. The Emperor of Bone stuff has been really complicated. But yes, I can adapt it here, and then I can Repast it for 1 more card later. But the big play that I was thinking of doing here was that I could Wombat now, move to combat, have it exile another card, then repast it, and when I repast it, that's 2 counters because the Wombat's on the board. So then because I was thinking of like doing the 3 counter thing there, I was thinking, wait, wouldn't I get 2 cards back from this later? It's like, no, because I would just get the 1 from using repast, and then the Wombat would be on board, and yeah. Alright. Emperor of Bones continues to be absurd, and we get to be 2-0, heading into game 3 with at least 1,500 gems now. Hello, Emperor. Welcome back. Stump Stomp continues to exclusively be the Burn Willow clearing dual land, but that's fine. It has been helpful. We don't really have any plays here. I don't imagine it's right to just play an Emperor of Bones. I mean, maybe. We're on the play against a blue deck? Blue, white, green? Cheap removal to kill an Emperor out of those colors. Not super prevalent. And we have double Oozewag. Like, we really want to get aggressive here. I guess I'm just playing it. It's really awkward this is not a May ability. Because I would absolutely just play a 2-1 here, because that's basically what Emperor Bones is anyway. A Nightshade Dryad, hold up Galvanic Discharge is the play, because again, a Cursed Marauder just dies without doing anything. Alright. Green, blue, there's Serum Visionary. I don't hate getting that out of the way and just adapting that for value. Although if they don't kill Emperor Bones, being able to adapt that into play and then sack it to Marauder would be absolutely busted. I'm definitely killing it right now. The question is whether I adapt it immediately for value or just play an Oozewag. Probably play an Oozewag. I think I hold on to this for now rather than playing it. Against green-blue, they're going to play some really big creatures in the late game, such as that. Okay, so this is going to be a filthy turn. I can scry 2, draw a card, or draw a card, scry 2, whatever order. Collective Resistance is a good draw. I'm a little stuck on mana. Oh, we might want the land over that, actually. Yeah. But then this Accursed Marauder is just, like, deadly, basically. They go to 8. I think I'm probably supposed to, since I drew Breathe Your Last, probably supposed to play this now. I don't know how they survive next turn without a real nice spell, and Planar Genesis is just card draw. Yeah. Alright, well, 3-0, we'll take it. Definitely leaving with some nice, like a big bundle of gems in our pocket. Pretty happy with that. We are 3-0, now at a positive record no matter where it goes from here. And 3,000 gems for the account. Okay, here we are on the play. This is a 3-lander. It's pretty slow, doesn't start till turn 4. Can be okay and sealed. Really good late game plays. Yeah, it's real slow, but we are on the play. 7 mana spell and an X mana spell? I'm just playing this tap land immediately. I don't have to shoot myself with it later. Hey there, Emperor. Against a red deck with Collective Resistance in our hands, we definitely hold on to that. Okay, there's the mana we need to Aberration turn 4. I don't want to crack the landscape because I want it around for Aberration. So we just pass. And then turn 5 is probably Emperor, hold up resistance. Eldrazi Repurposer, ramp on up. 3/3 and a 0/1 spawn, plus another when it dies. Very excellent card. There's a Horrific Assault as the draw. There's Writhing Chrysalis. The mythic common of all mythic commons ever printed. It's already 5/6. 5/6 still dies to a 6/6. We have Trample here. So we just send Aberration in and then Horrific Assault post-combat. They only kill Aberration with a double block, which we can Collective Resistance, and it has Trample, so we don't care about the chumps. Yeah, we send in and post-combat Horrific Assault, I think. Oh, I guess, because I'm probably playing Emperor here, it should have been pre-combat so that Chrysalis is engraved for Emperor to exile immediately, but I've got the Collective Resistance. I probably don't get punished by this. We'll see. We shall see. Okay, I don't have a red source if I top deck any of my red cards, so even if I top deck Siege Gang, I'm going to need this to be a mountain, so I'm going to hold up the colorless here so I can crack this landscape towards a red if we don't have to Collective Resistance. Yeah, it probably wasn't worth trying to get them to like 2-for-1 themselves there. Probably should have just Emperored to exile Chrysalis from grave. Just do it all main phase 1. The Emperor will probably still be around by our next turn anyway. And we wouldn't really want to animate a Chrysalis anyway, because it's a cast trigger that makes the spawns, so it would just be a 2/3 that we get from Emperor of Bones. It's actually pretty bad. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's super likely to matter, but it was strictly better, I think, to have done it the other way. Okay. Well, that's not bad. Would I rather do that or try to Collective Resistance the Ravager? If I Breathe Your Last the Ravager instead... No, I was going to say if I Breathe Your Last it instead, then I have attacks with Emperor of Bones, but I don't have triple black. I'd need to be able to still be able to adapt Emperor to send it in here as well. I mean, Collective Resistance to protect Emperor still feels really good, so I think I'm just going to hold on to that for later. They could sack both their spawn to put that back in hand and recast it again next turn, but if that's all they're doing next turn, we're in a pretty great spot. Oh wait, no, I can target here. Make them sack the spawn? That actually feels really good. Force them to sack the spawn immediately. They want it back in hand. I think they kind of have to do it here. Even if they don't have the mana to cast it. So if they don't have a colorless land, they have to chump with Repurposer to be able to cast that thing. But the problem here is that if they don't put it back in their hand, I can put it on the board attacking them next turn. Okay. They're going to let it happen. Fair enough. So they need this mana for something else for sure then. They're down to 8. It's a 4/4. Discard a card, draw a card. They cast 2 instants or sorceries in 1 turn. They can, like, clear out all our small stuff. Otherwise, it just discards and draws cards. Yeah, it's not scary. Okay. What is scary is a big 6/6 Annihilator swing. I guess that's also not that scary, because they have the Eldrazi spawn around the Annihilator trigger, but I get to attack with another 4/4 by doing this. Certainly the thing. Bestow is double green in X. I think it's better to hold up collective resistance right now. Signature Slam? Alright, well, basically just dead now. Because this is going to resolve, and now they don't have the chump blockers for the Annihilator swing. What are the other abilities? Destroy an artifact or enchantment? Well, there are no artifacts or enchantments. So this is just hexproof indestructible. But that means it's a hexproof indestructible swing, too. Pretty good. Boom. Annihilator. They can't even double block and kill anything here. They're dead. They have to go to 2 off of a double chump. Chump, chump, go to 2, or chump, chump, go to 2. Yeah, that's so gross. Alright, well, turns out drawing the only bomb rare in your sealed pool in every single game is pretty good, and we remain undefeated at 4-0, grabbing 4,500 gems out of the event. Here we are now for game 5. No natural black source is a definite flaw here. If they kill Nightshade Dread, we're going to have a bad time. We still have 3 castable spells no matter what, 2 of which are really, really good. So I am going to keep this. I'm actually going to go Forest first. The odds of them playing something I want to discharge turn 1 are pretty low, but I could top deck a Swamp towards Wombat and want to play that turn 2 instead of Dryad. We did not. We just played Dryad. We did hit a black source, so now even if Dryad dies, we're fine. We're certainly not happy, but we're fine. Yeah, this is fine. Marauder for later. Eldrazi Repurposer. It is another green-red deck. Best archetype in the format if they opened the cards to go with it. Mainly the Chrysalis being the most absurd. I'm actually probably still supposed to play Dream Drinker Vampire first over Wombat. The thing I like about Wombat is it's going to be big enough to block Repurposer once it's adapted, whereas Vampire just trades still. It might be worth it. I don't love discharging this because they get another spawn. But I guess, like, if they use all that mana to play something massive here, then we just Accursed Marauder them. And it's fine. Yeah, we can Accursed Marauder that. Still a completely busted card. Don't love seeing it here, but we can at least only get 3 for 1. Because they get 2 Eldrazi spawn out of that exchange. We spend a card for nothing, they spend a card for 2 spawn. Just the flames on the Wombat, because I did not have mana to adapt it. At this point, there's a 3/4 with no text. Okay. This is our second black towards Wormcoil Larva. Could drop a 3/4 Nyxborn Hydra and just take nothing next turn, but I am 1 land from Wormcoil Larva. I think I can hold off on the Hydra, and if I get really lucky and make a giant trampling Wormcoil Larva, that's really gross. Oh, this is nice for me, actually, that they'll blow that on a 2-1. Less likely to have removal for when I try to make a gigantic Death Touch trampling Wormcoil Larva. 2 cards in their hand. Alright, let's see. I mean, even if they kill the Wormcoil Larva, it's great if they don't exile it. We'll still get great value here. Okay, Aberration with Colorless Spent. There's only 1 card left in their hand. Alright. How big is this? 4? It's going to be a 7/7. They have to double block with both their creatures to kill it, and if they don't, they're never winning the race anyway. I think I just do it. Puts them in a rock and a hard place here. Double block and have no threats left against a 4/5 trampler and some worms. Or take it all and never outrace it. Oh my god, what a blowout. Jesus Christ. Well, we're still in the game. I can trade the Death Toucher into the 6/6 and then drop a Warped Tusker and win from there. But that was massive. Ooh, Woodland is active now, actually. Woodland could be our out to win the long game, because if we get to a board state where they're down to just the spawns, we can keep turning the Woodland into something they can't interact with here. So our opponent's completely playing off the top at this point. Against the 6/8. That's, that wins the board right now. I could even just Woodland into the Wormcoil. And then if they kill the larva Woodland, then I get 2 more tokens. We stay really far ahead on board. Even if I don't get to Woodland every single turn from then on. Yeah, land for our opponent. Bad draw. Stomp Stomp for us. Good draw. Alright. I don't even need to do it here. I mean, they could double block Tusker and kill it if I don't, so I probably should. Unless they have instant speed removal, that'd be a blowout. They do not. Alright, so we're in an excellent, excellent spot now. I think I am going to do the Woodland aggro play. Can trade their Thief into this thing. Then the path is clear. Alright, path's clear. We got a bunch of tokens. If they have that Ral Saga that does 2 to everything, that'd be pretty great, but nope. Flood out a little, and we are 5-0. We've topped out the prize out here with an undefeated run. This time shifting Woodland really doing some work for us, but almost a rareless game there. We actually won without our incredible Lord of the Undead little 2-drop thing. I forgot its name. But yeah, this is wonderful. I am super happy no matter what happens here, because honestly, I can't be bothered to play Historic, so I mean, if I win another game, I'll do it. But it's gonna be another one of those videos where, like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna take the simplest deck that I see and try to get some gems out of the qualifier weekend, but if I O2 drop from here, that's probably honestly for the better. Then I get to play more draft and sealed instead of constructed formats, but hey, incredibly lucky run this far up. I mean, we hit our bomb rare in all 4 of these games, and then in that one, we hit just a bunch of solid cards in the deck, and we really outdrew them in the late game with them flooding a little. Yeah, super solid luck. Can take these pretty average sealed pools and just give them an undefeated run so far. It's pretty crazy, but we'll see how it all wraps up. We are heading into the final boss, the final battle with 2 rounds in the chamber. Alright, here we are for round number 6. What could be the final battle? We can pull off a victory here. Super reasonable hand. We've got green, black, and red. And we get to ramp up with these dryads into some oozwags. Start beating down with those. We are against a blue deck. Blue-red it is. Could be some energy shenanigans if they've got the synergy in the sealed pool, and so far so good. Drop the energy 2-drop. I'm definitely going to ramp into turn 3 Oozewag here over playing a Cursed Marauder. Although, a Cursed Marauder now is going to do the same thing a Cursed Marauder later would, right? If they play a good 4-drop or something later on, like, they're always just going to sacrifice the 2-drop over sacrificing a 4-drop anyway. Aether Spike? Sure, I've got another one. And that was always going to counter anything I played, so getting it to just counter an Oozewag over potentially one of my bombs. If I hit one later, one of my bombs. Potentially my only bomb if I hit it later is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, they had enough energy to counter unless we pay 5 there? No, counter unless we pay 4. Never going to happen. Oh no, Chrysalis? Okay, this is our first game. We have not had the interaction to deal with Chrysalis. I can still block with a Death Toucher, which is something, but obviously Marauder's not going to work here. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty bad. I'm not a fan. Yeah, let's go Wombat and Dryad here. So I have a Death Toucher untapped. I do need double red for Spawn Gang, but I also need double black for more cards than that, so I think I'm cracking towards black here. I guess these are functionally the same. I actually have Menace swings with Charge Bug, that's so gross. Double block Charge Bug then. Oh my god. The Glimpse the Impossible with the Chrysalis? The Sundering Eruption off the Glimpse? Okay. Arena's like, undefeated, you say? Deal with this! Yeah, Demon Fear does work as well, doesn't it? That actually works even better, because they're going to both be menacing in for the attacks here. Do I want to redraw this? I guess it doesn't matter. If I don't want to redraw it, I can just put it on the bottom, but I guess I'll put it on top and shuffle because it's funnier. Yeah, this is a nightmare. I mean, all I need to do is hit a single one of my removal spells. We've got quite a few. We have 5 that would all work here. At least. Because we had 5 before we put the red removal spells in, and the red removal spells are the only ones that don't work on Chrysalis. Our green removal spell deals death touch damage, and all of our black removal destroys straight up. Yeah, well, this is bad. We're not finding it. Well, I guess I can still just a Cursed Marauder now. So they can't keep giving it Menace at least, and then they do have to clear out the second Nightshade Dryad. They have to double removal me. Does mean I don't get to play an Oozewag this turn though. Because I need the Dryad untapped. I can adapt the Wombat though. Post blocks. Or in response to removal. Deep Analysis, draw 2, very good value. I've got more than enough breathing room to pay the life and draw another 2. Get a full-on draw 4 from that. Chrysalis is essentially a 5-6 right now. Wombat is a 5-6, yeah. And I'm just going to block with the Death Toucher anyway. Okay, there's their own Nightshade Dryad, so now they have a Death Touching blocker as well. No attacks. Alright. Adapt it up. There's the fell. There is the fell. Fell the Chrysalis are down to... Well, they're still down to 4 cards, because 2 in hand plus deep analysis. Yeah, the position isn't getting much better for us, even if we do fell. But I don't have the mana to, like, play an Oozewag and adapt it right now anyway. They would need to hit removal for Dryad. And, like, another spawn token to get past my Wombat here. I think I can take some time to set up some more power toughness on this board, so the turn that I do crack that Chrysalis and break through, I actually am getting damage in. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's incredible here. Breaks the Chrysalis through, and now they have a 5/5 flyer I need to deal with as well. Well, Oozewag threatens to kill Chrysalis on blocks, but I have to just pass holding up the mana to adapt Oozewag or cast Fell. And then once they don't attack with Chrysalis, I fell the Riddle Keeper. Cool. Again, I had to wait till here so I had the mana up to threaten to adapt Oozewag to get the Chrysalis to not hit me here. Whew. Opponent's deck is great. This is really well built as well. This is some energy synergy nonsense I would not have seen had I had their sealed pool. I probably would have just been deep red-green Chrysalis nonsense. Drop a Tusker on blocks here if they don't have another counterspell in their sealed pool. Please. Cool. Less cool. That means they definitely have something else to deal with the Tusker. They're throwing that on Oozewag. Another draw from Unstable Amulet is another land, but they dig it out of the way. Okay, luckily no extra energy for that Reiterating Bolt to where it gets to just like shred our entire board. But it does kill the Dryad, and now Thief of Existence kills the Wombat? Oh, non-creature, never mind. Doesn't do anything, it's just a 3/4. So we're still chilling. We are still chilling. I don't really have any attacks here. I want to make sure I have blocks, so we play the best blocker, which is another Oozewag. I mean, I could still send in Tusker. It trades into Chrysalis off of a double block. Oh, gross. They got the double Chrysalis sealed pool. RIP. The more the merrier with the card. If you can stack 2 of them on the board together, they get completely broken. Because your second one has just put 2 more counters on the first one, where it's already an insane deal by itself. Alright, I guess I should have sent in with Tusker, and if we were really lucky, they would have went for the double block and then top-decked Chrysalis and been really sad, but because we didn't get to get this Chrysalis on the board before the second, we're in a real bad spot. They could still maybe mill out if the rest of their deck sucks. Fanged Flames is infinitely too late. Actually, Fanged Flames can never kill a Chrysalis. Because Chrysalis always comes with 2 spawns. That's so gross. Chrysalis, wow, you gotta be this way. So this is 8 toughness? My god. My god. If I attack with Oozewag, they just block with a 7-8, and my Oozewag does nothing. I guess I can Flames it after, but I'd still lose the Oozewag, which is terrible. If they block Warped Tusker with a 7-8, Warped Tusker survives, and then I can Fang Flames. I obviously still have blocks up, sort of, because I have a 7-7. I only say sort of because I'm at 6 life, but I do still have a 7-7 up. Okay. They just trade the Death Touch. That makes a lot of sense. I was praying we find some way to deal with the Chrysalises, because if not, they're knocking through our board state, but nope. Opponent does not want to take that block. And now we're just going to get crumpled by the Chrysali. Yeah, no, that was a pretty bad attack, because now I don't have an 8 toughness creature for the 7-8 Chrysalis. I mean, I can double block. Oh boy, they have Breaker of Creation too to gain 50 life and Annihilator to us. And I can't even Fanged Flames it because it has Hexproof from colored spells. Okay, well, I think our opponent built a really nice deck here, but we also got severely outclassed in card quality. This deck is disgusting. Oh, it's 9 toughness. That's actually a really good block for us. That's a huge trade in our favor. And now we have Vampire to deal with Breaker. Hold the phone. The game isn't over. I was literally just going through the game is over spiel. But after that attack, like, that was a really good block for us. So I have a Vampire to trade into the Breaker. I do lose some lands, which is quite bad. But I have Breathe Your Last to deal with Chrysalis. Guess I Fanged Flames the Thief. Start attacking with a 7-7 here. Vampire trade into Breaker. Breathe Your Last trade into Chrysalis and just try to kill them before they top deck something like Great. The last 14. Like, we get to become the aggressor here if they don't have an additional threat in their hand. Then we wipe the board. I guess a threat or a removal spell works. Removal spell on Vampire would be nasty. But so far, so good on the plan here. Our double black spells are still really good. I don't think we have double green spells. We do not have double green spells, so ditch one of those. I guess this landscape can find the second black or second red depending on what we top deck, so we actually do go for Swamp here. And we'll just have to play off curve. If we draw the Spawn Gang, I'll have to crack red and hold off on it. If we draw the double black card, we'll have to wait another turn for it. This doesn't get green mana, so I can't crack it towards a bigger collective resistance, sadly. Oh my god, that's a draw. I need to top deck another green source for it. It's good, though. I mean, they're dead to one more swing on board since we started getting aggressive with the Oozewag. Oh my god. Oh my god, how? Do we win that? Can't keep getting away with it, man. What a lucky qualifier play-in event. We take those. I mean, I'm really happy with my decision to get aggressive with the Oozebag early. It was a bold and risky decision for sure, but it really paid out there. Because we got to kill them one turn faster. There's so many draws they could have here. Anything that makes 2 energy would be really threatening. I mean, since we drew into the resistance now, removal wouldn't save them though. But yeah, just ending the game 1 turn faster matters a lot, giving your opponent 1 less turn to get 1 more out. And that's what we accomplished by getting so aggressive with that Oozewag to the point where I would have just like died to a removal spell on our 4-3. Oh my god. Some risky plays really panned out for us in that one. And we also just got real lucky in the end game. Fought our way through double Writhing Chrysalis. And this game we didn't play any of our rares. I mean, we played the Woodland, but we didn't have double green for it yet. That was a really good draw if we did have another green source. So now any green source we draw into was super live this game because our graveyard is so full of great stuff. We just start hitting up with a 6-8 land every turn. Worst case scenario. Yeah. Wow. Really lucky game to end it off. Again, I think our opponent had a very good sealed pool and they built it super well as well. Like, this is the kind of stuff I would not be coming up with. With the double Chrysalis pool, I would just be like, all right, I'll just play a bunch of bad red and green cards to go pure red-green Chrysalis nonsense. But they had really solid energy stuff going on there too. With the Charge Bug, Aether Spike, the card draw for the Amulet. So really well built and well played from pretty much all of our opponents, but luckily, we're luckier. We're simply built differently, and we get a full 6-0 run with a very average sealed deck. I mean, we'll take another look at it here. Oh, I have to play Historic now. Oh my god. Why? Not again. Last time I had to play Standard because I was top 250 Mythic in Draft. This time I won a Qualifier Play-In and now I have to play Historic. Oh. I'm moving this week as well, so I don't really have time to study the format, so it's literally going to be just grabbing whatever deck looks simple. Anyways, back to the deck in hand, back to the event at hand. Let's take another peek at this undefeated sealed deck. I mean, yeah, we took our bread and our butter, we put them together, our peanut butter and our jelly. We just took the 2 best colors in the sealed pool, played them together, and it played super well. We never drew the Spawn Game Commander, I think. Oh no, we had it in 1 game, and it actually did play really well, right? The game that we drew it in, we cast it while still having 1 and a colorless up, and then they immediately had to removal spell it because it was threatening to kill like all their creatures, so that we could, in response to the removal spell, kill one of their creatures anyway. So it was actually a big swing in our favor, because we spent 1 card, the Spawn Gang Commander, to kill one of their creatures, get rid of one of their removal spells in hand, and leave behind 3 Eldrazi spawn tokens. Yeah, we drew it 1 time, it played really well. So I think that was the one thing I was looking at that I was like, I don't know if we ever drew that, but I think everything in the deck got played and went really well in the games that it was played in. Collective Resistance was a massive overperformer. I have not ran this card a particularly large amount, but it was just incredible in every one of these games. I guess in the last game, we never even cast it, but having that safety valve to make sure our opponent top decking removal would still kill them was really nice. Yeah, literally every card in the deck showed up, got to do its thing, and did it well. The number 1 was Emperor of Bones. Our first, I think at least 5 wins were off of Emperor of Bones, but our first 4 in a row were off of the Emperor. It was dumb. Like, if you can play it and your opponent can't immediately kill it, it's going to crush them. And luckily for us, our opponents could not kill that when it mattered. And so that was incredible. Yeah, the Shifting Woodland got to show up, get that huge Wormcoil Larva swing that 1 game. Sweet stuff, really. This is just what happens when you draw the right cards at the right time. Honestly, I don't think there's too much else to say but that. It was a simple sealed pool, a simple build. We just drew real dang well. And that's going to be 6-0 for the best of 1 qualifier play-in event, which means we get the qualifier weekend token, which qualifies us for... I think it should show up on the event list. once you have the token. Oh, I guess not. That only works with arena opens because the event is like the next day. So it should say in the description though, right? This month's qualifier weekend. Yeah. Click here for details. That'll probably tell me. July 13th and 14th. So next weekend, there is a historic qualifier weekend. Historic is the non-rotating format on Arena, so you can play any card on Arena outside of banned cards, regardless of what set they've been printed in. And Historic is also, you can play all the Alchemy cards too. So Arena exclusive cards are legal as well. So it's a constructed format I know absolutely nothing about except what's legal in it. I don't know what the good decks are and everything. So I'll probably look up a pretty simple aggro deck of some kind again, something like that. If there's like a mono white build, that'd be pretty sweet. Mono white's my favorite constructed deck that I've played in recent memory. The mono white humans builds previously were decent. Maybe those are still good. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to do at least a little bit of research for that so I can end that event with some more gems. But I don't expect to day to it or anything crazy, so it'll be another little change of pace from all the drafts and sealed. But as for today, had a great time, got a great record, got maximum prize out, a bunch of gems and more, because we get more gems out of the qualifier weekend. Even if I just sign up and then resign immediately, I get a couple gems, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, just a good, lucky day of Magic overall. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.